Fantasy Football Fallout Week 5 edition. We talk about who is projected to score well in Week 4, who did, who didn't, why did it happen. We give out our waiver wire pickups. If that's all you care about, just click the timestamp below. It will take you right there. I have some matchups that are really good for Week 5. We also give out our awards, the Kicked in the Nuts Award and the I'm Watching You Award. Somebody got me. I'm sure somebody got you as well. Make sure you comment, because I love to commiserate with everybody. But let's dig right in. Who did ESPN and Rockobot, who are competing against each other this year, who did they have in the top 10 this week? In order for ESPN: Baltimore, Tampa, San Francisco, the Rams, Kansas City, Denver, Chicago, Seattle, Minnesota, and Indianapolis. Now for Rockobot: Baltimore, Indianapolis, Tampa Bay, New England, who has not yet played. It scares me a little bit, though, because they play the Kansas City Chiefs, Denver, the Rams, Washington, New Orleans, Seattle, and Kansas City. Now, obviously, Monday Night Football has not yet happened, so we will come in and we'll clean these scores up. But here is the weekly scorecard as it stands Sunday evening. For the week so far, ESPN and Rockobot are tied at 21. ESPN edged Rockobot in defense with 6-5. But then in 2020, ESPN also has that edge at 40-39. Now let me give out my awards for the week. The Kicked in the Nuts Award, a defensive unit that I thought was going to score well, it just didn't end up happening, was the Chicago Bears. And the Bears did not give up a lot of points. So this just goes to show you that that points does not make a strong defense. It's really the sacks and the turnovers. And Indianapolis played pretty crisp football, so Chicago, they just didn't score a lot of points defensively. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay gives up a ton of points, and they're in the top 10. Sacks and turnovers, everybody. It's not complicated. Now, the I'm Watching You Award goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been in the top 10 now 2 out of the last 2 weeks. They've given up some points. Yes, they played Cincinnati and San Francisco. And San Francisco, basically, I mean, they had opportunities, but they gave up that pick 6. Philadelphia is not going to be able to get off the hook all the time, but they do play against the NFC East, which outside of Dallas really can't move the football at this point. So I like the Eagles to pick up. If you're hurting at defense, depending on who they're playing the matchup is, they're a good one for you to grab. And speaking of waiver wire defensive units, Philadelphia is my my number one waiver pickup if you need a long-term defense at this point. That as they're owned by 19% of people out there, so they're going to be available for you. If you're looking more for streams this week, you can look at Arizona versus the Jets. They're only owned in 41.3% of the leagues. You can look at Cleveland versus Indianapolis. I like what Cleveland did to Dallas for about 3 quarters, and then they just went to prevent. Dallas is too good for them, for anybody to go to a prevent defense. They just moved the ball too quickly, and then things kind of fell apart. But if you look at the first three quarters of that game, Cleveland was playing pretty well. They handled Washington. I think they can do the same to Indianapolis, who is struggling with wide receiver injury issues. If they can do a pretty decent job against the run, and I think they can, then Cleveland should play well against Indianapolis. And then Dallas versus the Giants. I hate the way Dallas's defense is playing football, but it is the Giants. They're having a lot of difficulty moving the ball. So it's kind of a risky one. If you remember last week, I mentioned the Jets is a risky stream play. The Jets did end up, I believe, finishing in the top 10. Let me reconfirm here on my list. Yeah, they're the number 3 defense, for crying out loud. So, sometimes you get these dicey matchups, but if they can get a turnover or two, they're going to get some sacks. They're not going to give up a ton of points. They can be all right. So there you go. There is defense and special teams. We did quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Make sure you check out those videos. Check out the Week 5 playlist. It should be in the notes below. Follow me on Twitter. Do all that stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. That always helps as well. And we'll catch you on another video soon. Thanks, everyone.